Morning, everyone. What a journey to be here. No pun intended. It's difficult to get from my hotel to this place. I have to go through different passes. And it's also difficult to be an OG in the crypto market. I discovered Bitcoin fairly early in 2011. And I've seen ups and downs in the market for the past a little bit over 1 decade. It surprised me also. So today I'm going to talk about, we're going to look ahead to see the next peak. And in the history, personally, I have seen three peaks. The first one is in 2014, second, 2014 to 2017, and the previous peak is at the end of 2021. And I don't know whether it's a coincidence or what. Every peak happened right after a couple of months after the halving of Bitcoin. And every peak ends at the end of that year. So the first peak is end of 2017 in December. Second peak also December. The last peak is in November. So if this pattern will repeat, we can predict the next peak will probably be around the end of 2025, which is 3 years away. So let's go through those cycles one by one very briefly. The first cycle is, I call it pre-2014. Around that period, it mostly, all of the tokens are mostly payment tokens or store of value tokens. And the iconic projects are Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ripple. And then, during the next cycle, after the burst of the first bubble, we saw a boom of utility network tokens. I call it utility network token, or you can understand it as a platform to run smart contract, which is Ethereum, Neo, Tron, and many DeFi or other decentralized applications built on those platforms. And then the current or the previous circle, during which circle we saw the boom of DeFi, NFT, some new centralized exchange like Binance. Actually, Binance is quite new. It is the biggest, the Chinese band of crypto benefited Binance predominantly. And during the third circle, we saw different projects. And this is looking into the rear mirror in a retrospective way. But what if we want to have a higher level of all those projects, all those crypto market? I tried to group all of them into 4 different categories or 4 tracks. And every single project can fit into those 4 baskets. And they are infrastructure, liquidity or finance, Web3 application, and metaverse. Let's look at them one by one. So the first, and also the biggest, this is a market dominance of all those 4 tracks. We can see that infrastructure consists of the biggest portion, 51%, or around 0.5% of all the crypto market, and then liquidity, 44%, and Web3 and metaverse. And astonishingly, Web3 application and metaverse is relatively small or very small comparing to infrastructure and liquidity. And don't understand it wrong. It's not just all the tokens combined together. It includes companies' market values. So let's go into those 4 tracks one by one. The first one is infrastructure, and it consists of different parts the biggest part, half of it, is store of value network. Mostly it's Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and other tokens. And then and the second biggest part is utility network, 38%, and the major part is Ethereum. And then Binance Chain, Ripple, Solana, and other blockchains. And we also have interoperability protocols, scalability solutions, privacy preserving blockchains, oracles, computational blockchains, and mining and staking, and also some tooling. So the total combined market cap is around $760 billion US, which is pretty big. Here comes some prediction on the infrastructure track for the next peak. Prediction 1, store of value network plus utility network. The total market cap will be on par with gold's market cap. Currently, the gold market cap is around $10 trillion US. If this will be true, then the store of value market network or Bitcoin will be around 4.5 or 5 trillion US. And the combined value market cap of utility network will also be around 5 trillion US. That will put Ethereum market cap to around 4 trillion US. You can calculate how many times, how many multiples Bitcoin and Ethereum will need to grow during the next cycle. And next prediction 2, Ethereum will face its Oedipus complex. What does it mean? It means layer 2, the son, and layer 1, the father, will have a rivalry. They will compete with each other. If there is a dominant layer 1 project on top of Ethereum, these projects will compete with Ethereum layer 1. And these are the future possible competitions. Oops. And prediction number 3, we will witness the rise of complete ecosystem around the many of the zero-knowledge proof projects. We will see upstreaming, mining, computation network, and we will also see the downstream application ecosystem around ZKP. So ZKP will be a very attractive direction for investors to invest your money resources into. And prediction number 4, decentralized cloud will be finally viable, and many decentralized applications will live on it. It will be more difficult for government, for regulators to simply ban a website, to ban a dApps, because future dApps were built completely on a decentralized cloud using decentralized naming system. You don't need domain names. You don't need AWS or other cloud service to run your dApps. It will be completely decentralized. Okay. If all the prediction fulfilled, the future infrastructure track will be something like this. We will see a store of value network worth of 5 trillion, utility network 5 trillion, and those are growth of different subtracts. And next is liquidity track. The liquidity track today is something like this. It consists of majorly 2 parts. The biggest part, or 90% of the part, is centralized finance. And the smaller part, only 7%, is decentralized finance. And also exchanges, centralized exchanges is the biggest part in the centralized finance section. Binance, Coinbase, and FTX. And plus other smaller exchanges, they have a combined market value of over 300 billion US dollars. Okay, let's do some prediction on this on this liquidity track. Prediction 5. Stablecoin supply will hike to 2 trillion. The current stablecoin supply is around 150 billion US dollars. But I predict for the next peak, it will grow 10 times to become around 2 trillion US dollars. Because in the past, historical data show that stablecoin or USDT versus Bitcoin market cap is between 3% to 20%. If this percentage preserves in the future, all the stablecoins combined together will be around 2 trillion US dollars. That means a lot of new money from conventional market will go into crypto market. And then prediction 6, KYC, ML, CFT will be applied to those fiat-backed stablecoin projects under the pressure from regulators. It is difficult to imagine that if you send, let's say, 10,000 US dollars to another individual's bank account, and your banker will call you to ask you what is the purpose of this transaction. At the meantime, when you send 1 million USDC or other stablecoins to another address, and nothing will happen, and you can freely do that. And it's, let's say, in the case of USDC, many US-based banks will complain to US regulators why treat them differently. USDC is USD-backed, and USD in the banks are strictly strictly regulated. So I predict KYC, ML of every address, every holder of those fiat-backed stablecoins will be applied. And consequently, my prediction number 7, day-to-day payment by average Joe will constitute a substantial proportion of all transactions, because when stablecoins are strictly regulated, it will be very equivalent to your balance in your bank. And on-ramp, off-ramp will be very smooth and easy. So eventually, average ordinary people will use a stablecoin, will use a blockchain as a payment network because it's more efficient, it's more convenient. So at next peak, the fiat-backed stablecoin will be around 2 trillion, and sequentially, we will see a revival of decentralized stablecoins. Okay, this is what the liquidity tracker will look like at the next peak. So CeFi will probably grow 10 times, and DeFi will grow 25 times. It doesn't necessarily mean that the value of our market cap of a certain exchange will grow 10 times. It means the existing projects will grow many times, and also there will be new projects emerging. Because Web3 applications and metaverse are relatively comparatively smaller, I will combine them together. So this is the current market dominance of Web3 application. I divided them into 3 groups: decentralized identity, social, and also DAO. And each part is somewhere between 2 billion to 4.5 billion. And then the metaverse. Metaverse is comprised of 2 parts: NFT or related and gaming related. And each of them are around 29 billion US dollars. I think the gaming is probably not a best word to describe metaverse because gaming is for fun. But participating in metaverse not necessarily for fun. The biggest difference between metaverse and game is you join metaverse to join a social life. Social lives are not necessarily fun. You can produce there, you can work there. There is a whole economic system in metaverse. But in gaming, most of the people are there for fun. Here comes my last two predictions. Prediction 8, daily active user of the biggest Web3 application will reach 10 million. Today, there are only 5 million addresses that ever owned an NFT. But at the next peak, I think one biggest Web3 applications will have more than 10 million DAU users. And prediction number 9, censorship resistance will still be the drive of Web3 application. And Ponzi scheme will still, unfortunately, be the journaling of metaverse games. These two things will not go away. And this, if all the predictions, the 9 predictions got fulfilled, the infrastructure track will be around $19 trillion in total. That's 23 multiple times. And liquidity will be 6 trillion, metaverse 500 billion, and Web3 application 100 billion. Last but not least, these are the projects I've been personally involved with. I will go through them very quickly by tracks. So for infrastructure track, I'm the founder of NEO. NEO is an open network, a smart contract platform for smart economy. And also, I'm involved with Poly Network. Poly Network is an interoperability protocol bridging 40+ blockchains, including NEO, Ethereum, and many other blockchains. And I've also worked in DSP is not a final name. It's called Decentralized Storage Protocol. It will be a layer 2 for Ethereum, but serves as a decentralized cloud. So Ethereum dApps can build on top of DSP. And for the liquidity track, I'm the founder of On-Chain Custodian, a regulated crypto custody based in Singapore. And also Inst, a on-ramp, off-ramp solution for individual and merchants. Alpha One, a crypto asset management with currently with around 100 million US dollars AUM. And all those projects are open to talents and also major investors. And for the Web3 track, there are few projects. Neo Burger, a voting and governance project for Neo. You can also earn gas if you do Neo Burger. And also GrantShare, a project, a decentralized DAO to manage all the grants on top of Neo. Also Neo name service, which is equivalent to ETH-Name. For Metaverse, there is one platform called Mega Oasis, which is a fundraising and also launchpad and marketplace for NFT on Neo. And if you are interested in those projects, please contact us. My Twitter and my email. Thank you very much.